right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the Ashish David Show. This is so much fun because I get to talk to so many people I don't know, but this time it is somebody I do know. I know him for almost a decade now.
More than that.
He is, a multifaceted person. I actually call him an alien because people don't understand. Like, देखो, why I compare him to an alien is because mostly we don't know shit about an alien and we don't understand, but we think he's cool. So Devjit का थोड़ा ना ऐसा ही scene है. He does so many things. All right, he does so many fucking weird things and nobody knows what the fuck he does. Okay. Like कभी लगता है maybe he's he's a socialite, like one of those page 3 people, or he's a party organizer. Is he a DJ? He does something in music. Does he cook? Like, is he into some kind of modeling agency? Because they're always like chicks on his Instagram. So anyway, we're gonna beat all these myths and we're gonna try to know the dude. Before we get to him, a little bit about the Ashish David Show. Well, this is just a talk show, like, me trying to connect you and have conversations with people who I find interesting. People who are doing some cool stuff in their life. Doesn't mean you have to be like a huge achiever or something, but as long as you're willing to come on the show, share your journey, that's all that matters. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my guest. Bro, introduce yourself, tell everybody your name and what you do.
Hi, Ashish. First of all, thanks a lot for letting me in the show. Your show is going really viral. I've been seeing it every day on my Insta, Facebook, and like so many other places. Amazing job. You are amazing. So I think you're also a fellow alien, and aliens recognize aliens. So yeah, you're also one of the cool ones. So yeah, for everybody who's listening and watching us over here, I'm Devjit. I'm from Delhi, and I'm still trying to find out what I'm doing and figure out what I'm doing. But I love doing music the most, and I'm a sound engineer and a music producer. But I do a lot of other things apart from that. I DJ as well, and I like. I still, as I said, I'm still figuring out what I'm doing. I keep whatever comes in, I keep doing that because new things inspire me a lot.
Superb. Okay, how did you get to know about the Ashish David Show, and what made you like sort of want to come on the show?
Oh wow, that's a cool question. Well, you were always on my timeline, and I keep seeing your stuff happening over and over again, and yeah, interesting stuff. You keep you have this conversation with the janta or the people, So I got to see, and it was really nice, like, because we see like we have like other shows also, like not many, but like like the first talk show we saw was like I think Shaker Suman, who was in Shaker back then, and then there's Abish Matthew, who does a talk show, and then son of Abish, and then you're doing something like much better than that, sitting at your home and like connecting with everybody. So I think that's an amazing, like, great thing during this like sad times when we actually can chill with you and virtually like talk about like little pleasant things which are like probably taking place right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, so, I actually, Devjit started this just as a thing that I would do because I was getting bored at home, okay? But now, like, people are saying, "Arey, you're doing something for the community." And I was like, shit, I never, like, actually thought I'm going to do anything for the community, like, ever. Like, because I love to just eat and stay in my studio and just do my little bit, like, you know what I mean? But apparently, people think that this is adding a lot of value to them, so that's great. I'm happy about it. I think music has been more or less a big part of your life, and like a lot of what you do. So tell us about like how did it all start in the beginning, like in school or whatever. Like when was your first like sort of interaction with music, man?
It's quite a funny story actually now that you asked me about. But yeah, I definitely remember the whole incidents and everything. So music started. I was in a Catholic school, so there was always music. We were singing, all the we had choirs and we were singing the carols, and we had a lovely music teacher as well. So music was always there. But thing which got me inspired was something quite funny. But since you asked me, I have to tell you. So
Yes,
I still
please.
remember. I was in. I was in 7th standard, okay, and I'm a Bengali, so we celebrate Durga Puja, and it's like a big thing for us. So I still remember it was the last day of Durga Puja, and I had gone to see a neighboring pandal, okay, I think it was Maitri Mandir or somewhere in GK1, and Euphoria was playing, okay, I'm not kidding. Euphoria was playing there, okay, and that was the first time I didn't even know who is Euphoria. I was listening to Backstreet Boys and Westlife, like back then, in like 7th, and Euphoria is playing, and this guy is playing Summer of '69, okay, and I'm like, just like, wow, what is this happening in First of all, Durga Puja, you're hearing a English song in Durga Puja, and a band like Euphoria is playing. So I was like, and I somehow got like brainwashed with that ting, 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 that melody, it kind of kept echoing the whole night. And so, yeah, in the next morning, I woke up and I had my friend whose elder brother was already playing guitar and he was in the school band. And so I was like, bro, I also need to do this shit. Tell me what's the secret? Do we need to put any algorithm, some formulas, how to do this? So yeah, he was kind enough to lend me his acoustic guitar and tell me how to read tabs and all. So yeah, then it started
I've been talking to a lot of people who got into music. There was Uday Raj Singh, who's also called Guy Velvet, okay? I talked to him.
Yeah.
Then I talked to a gentleman yesterday whose interview hasn't been released yet. But by the time this interview gets released, that would have already been released. So people are like, yaar, ye to kafi Inception scene ho gaya, Back to the Future. So this gentleman, Anand Kulkarni from Toronto. Yeah, so he
I saw that.
So, all these people are telling me similar stories, bro. And it's so cool. Everybody saw some concert and next day they were mind fucked. तेरा भी यही हुआ था.
it हुआ था, amazing हुआ तो था, as in it was crazy. वो होता है ना, you need a catalyst for a reaction to happen. I think Palash Sen singing Bryan Adams was for me.
So little known story for a lot of you who might know or might not know, maybe Devjit knows. So somewhere in the mid 2000s, I was singing for this a cappella choir called Artists Unlimited, which was run by Annette Phillip.
Yeah. I know.
So what happened was, somehow Palash Sen had heard of Artists Unlimited, and he was like, at that time they were writing an album and the name wasn't fixed. So they had 4-5 tracks in place and they were like, we need somebody to do a cappella for it, like those oohs and ahs piche jo hota hai. And they called Annette, and Annette called 3 more people. I incidentally was one of those people because I was the bass.
Were you a soprano?
No, I was the bass, right? So I was the baritone. So hua gaya that we recorded for those 5-6 songs. Eventually, it went on to be the album Mehfooz, okay, which was I think one of the Mehfooz.
Yeah, I think it was one of the amazing albums.
If you look at the CD, usme singing credits, Ashish David, that name is there, right?
Kya baat kar rahe?
Yeah. So after that, what happened? After that, what happened was they were so happy with what we did, they actually invited us to join the band and kind of tour with them. And I was like, fuck yeah, man. I fucking wanted to tour with Euphoria. So for, I think,
you were... Okay, I wasn't aware of this.
For about, if my memory serves me right, it was, I think, for about approximately a year or maybe a little less, for which I was on a lifestyle where, abhi CR Park में gig हुआ है और अभी मैं घर पहुंचा हूँ और सुबह 5 बजे पलाश सेन का फोन आ रहा है, टवेरा तेरे को 7:30 बजे उठा लेगी. Like, okay, that was my conversation. He would say 7:30 बजे टवेरा आ रही है, इतने बजे इनोवा आ रही है, इतने बजे स्कॉर्पियो आ रही है. And that is it. Like, one, I can't put his call on silent. 2, I
Right,
have to
right,
pick up
right.
his call. And 3, there will just be a one-line exchange. 7 o'clock Scorpio आ रही है. मैं बोलूँगा हाँ मैं तैयार रहूँगा. That is it. And those 8-9 months, dude, we were doing 24-26 shows in a month.
Wow.
So I toured with them. I was living that so-called like rock star lifestyle for about 8-9 months, and oh man, like how hard these guys work.
Were you like singing their originals like Mairi and all? Were you like
Yeah.
doing a
All
cappella
of the-
for that?
all
wow,
of
that's
that
pretty
shit.
Cool. So,
So
the a cappella version to Mairi.
So not exactly a cappella, but when they are like, so you've probably seen like, people from the West like Phil Collins and Sting, and whenever
Yeah,
they
yeah.
tour, they have like
Right.
3-4 backup vocalists, right? So
Right.
so to provide those like, backup singing and harmonies and all that stuff, it's not always a cappella. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
So for example, when they used to do Dhoom Pichak Dhoom, I used to do the
oh shit.
so I used to do all that.
Okay. Cool, great.
So I would do mouth percussion. Sometimes I used to sing. Sometimes it was normal singing. Sometimes it was chorus singing. But I mean, more than what I was doing there, it is like more like the experience that I was having, man. Like I was eating the
Right.
finest fucking 5-star food everywhere. We were going in the best hotels. Like, oh shit. Like so much craziness I witnessed. But anyway, that was a side story. Coming back to you.
Yeah.
So all right. So all that happened, and then you started off with the guitar, and were you then your musical sort of listening journey also must have started at that time?
Yeah. So as I told you, like I was lucky enough to get have people who were already in that universe of rock and roll, and they gave me a lot of masala, a lot of like music to listen to, and that back then, I think either we had to like wait the whole week and listen to new songs on radio on or
Times FM
Or,
top 20.
yeah, 10 Rainbow, yeah, Music on the Rocks and all those things, or then or like go to Planet M, buy a cassette, which was expensive for a schoolboy, because all these like cassettes were at least $100-$150 back then. So we inherited a lot of stuff from our seniors. So it was great because in the beginning only we were exposed to a lot of good music, So I think that really helped us to know what good music was, because music is like food, so you need to know how to appreciate like a good dish. So it was like that.
Another side story. I'll have fucking too many side stories, man. This was so anyway.
I'm sure.
So 2005, 2004 or something. I was with Clarence, the bass player for
He was
Joint
I
Family.
remember.
For Joint Family.
Yes. It
Unfortunately-
was my seat. I know him.
Yeah, unfortunately, he passed away. But
Yes.
when he was 27, he also played for Them Clones. He played for a lot of other bands as well. You
So
know
his
him.
dad was the music teacher in our school.
Yeah, I know. He was so he was in what's your school's name?
Don Bosco.
Don Bosco. Correct. So him and me are like slightly.
Chuddy buddy.
No. Let me just put it like this: slightly intoxicated after a party and some gig. And so his house is pretty close to mine. We both were in Kalkaji. You were also in CR Park.
Yeah.
So he gets like these sandwiches, okay, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, bro, these are like beef tongue sandwiches. Have you ever have beef tongue?
Ooh,
I was like,
yeah. It's not meat. It was Anglo-Indian.
Right.
Yeah.
So till that point of time in my life, like I had never had, anybody's
A tongue.
like an animal's tongue. Okay? And I was like guilt tripping. Okay, I was like, bro, I'm a voiceover artist. मैं तो tongue नहीं खा सकता. उसने बोला it's very tasty. You just have it. Okay, and all that guilt went out the window in 2 minutes after I had the first bite. And I was like, fuck, this is good shit. And we are drinking and chilling. Subir Malik ka call aata hai Clarence ko. And he's like, so for those of you who don't know, Subir Malik is, I mean, like, it's silly to assume that nobody might not know Subir Malik, but Subir Malik is the founding member of one of the biggest cover bands, now original music band, Parikrama. They've been around for the longest time. They have a school, they manage bands, etc. So
And they opened for Iron Maiden.
Baat hi khatam.
Baat hi khatam.
So apparently they had an interview on All India Radio and the show was called Kalakar Kaise Kaise. Okay, like different types of Kalakar. So they were supposed to go, but as you know, आर्टिस्ट की फितरत रहती है कि उसको प्रमोशन से ज्यादा काम से और रोटी से और पैसे से मतलब होता है, ठीक है. मतलब अभी देखो देवजीत मेरे साथ इंटरव्यू पे है, बट अगर अभी उसको पे काम होगा ना जहाँ उसको पैसे मिल रहे होंगे, वो बोलेंगे आशीष डेविड तो अपना मुंह बंद कर भाई, मैं तुझसे कल इंटरव्यू करता हूँ. Because I have work. See, that is natural because you know, for an artist, work is like freelance. Like you know, you never know when it will happen, when it won't happen. So anyway, so they had a gig and they had to go for that. And they said to Clarence, why don't you go and you know, like just go there because they need somebody who's a musician who can come and talk. So Clarence was like, bro, let's go to this interview. It'll be fun. I was like, but dude, we are drunk. And he was like, kuch nahi hota, we'll wear dark glasses and go. I was like, okay, what if, you know, our breath like stinks? He was like, we'll have bubble gum. I was like, fucker, but we can't drive. He's like, we'll go in three-wheeler. So he was that one guy who had all the right answers when everybody's drunk. So you just go with what the fucker is saying. Right? He seems to be the man with the plan. So I was like, fine, he seems to know what he's talking about. Let's go. So we went to that radio station. It was All India Radio. And I was like, shit. मतलब हम यहाँ पे बात करेंगे और पूरी दुनिया में हमारी आवाज आएगी. Like you know, we were like some fucking weird trip, okay? हमें ये नहीं पता था कि like क्या होने वाला है क्या. So anyway, so the interview happened. You know, I don't know what the hell I said. Apparently, I spoke for 7 minutes non-stop, out of the nervousness and excitement. And I was like, oh shit, I probably said something offensive or something because everybody like looking at me, okay, like that. And then like everybody's smiling. So I thought, chal theek hai, matlab, you know, I didn't say anything bad. It was good. And then that guy told me to meet somebody. And then I met that guy and they offered me some form. And I thought it was some, you know, formality that I had to just fill it up. But it was apparently a audition form. They liked me so much.
Okay.
They just offered me an audition form. They were like, Western music hai hamara section. Usme there's a opening. And so apparently मुझे बाद में पता लगा there were around 1,200 people. So there were around 1,200 people who applied for the thing, and around 10 people got through finally. So I was lucky enough to be one of them. And that is how I met Subhadra, who does Music on the Rocks.
Oh yeah, Subhadra. Oh my God. Crazy, yes.
So I've been working with Subhadra, who's been doing Music on the Rocks. And for those of you who are from outside Delhi, well, Music on the Rocks is a show that a lot of us kids from the 80s and 90s grew up listening to.
Yeah, I think it was crazy the kind of content they used to have back then. You know, because they would play Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and like, you know, all these guitar chords. And it was amazing. Like, I remember, in fact, recording in my cassettes the radio show, like, you know, remember you could like record it, your cassettes. So yeah, I actually had like these 3-4 cassettes wherein I recorded the whole show, and like, you know, and I remember the show used to start with one of these Satriani songs or something like.
She always plays it even now. Yeah. And
it's still there.
Yeah. So I'm going to like send this snippet to Subhadra. So I was lucky enough to meet her, and you know, she was okay. So when you start your radio show, right? So somebody has to mentor you and teach you how to do the show.
Okay.
For me, it was Subhadra. So I was like, yaar, ye to sone pe suhaga ho gaya, matlab. This is the same woman.
Sone pe Subhadra.
Yeah, Sone pe Subhadra. So she's a friend now. You know, I call her Subs. And Subs, if you are watching this right now, a big salute from me and from Devjit. आप रॉक माता हैं और आपकी वजह से बहुत सारे लोगों ने 90s and you know early 2000s में बहुत सारा रॉक म्यूजिक सुना है. एंड आपका जो starting riff था,
oh shit,
I think it is Flying in a Blue Dream, if I'm not wrong.
Flying in a Blue Dream.
Flying in Blue Dream, man. Fuck. So tell us about that time, man.
Such memories.
Were you also going to Clyde's and buying those fake tapes?
Oh yeah. Of course, Metallica, dude. I had a Metallica bag, I remember, like, you know, And Sepalchura bag also. Like, I think those were the only places where you could go and buy this stuff.
I remember I started buying tapes at the time when they were 15 rupees. I'm talking, okay, so I think I'm talking about 1985 or 86 was my first tape, and it was for 15 bucks, I remember. And 15 bucks was like, my mother used to say, तुम्हें 2 महीने में एक tape मिलेगा. You buy whatever you want, but one tape only you'll get. So, there was so much fucking anxiety and pressure as to fucking which one do I buy.
One tape.
And you don't know shit because at that time there was no internet, so there was no way to find out. There were like there was the magazine RSJ, I think, which came much later.
Of course.
But
RSJ came around 92, I think.
92. तो उसमें मतलब उसका भी भाई to find that was like another thing. Like it was like a witch hunt to find a magazine of RSJ because.
You only would get it in certain like stands because I remember around like over here there were only those 2-3 people and like and I think and then it used to coming with a CD, so it was like very crazy.
Yes, and it was like pretty cool because then you got to know अच्छा पुणे में ये band बजा रहा है या अच्छा Bangalore में these bands are playing, so it was quite like a different and kind of a fun experience. But what was the next thing that happened in your life? So this was school. Then when you went to college,
I wanted to do music also, but then I wanted to become a chef also. So because I had this fascination for food and like making food and everything. So unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, the hotel management thing didn't happen. But I scored it really nice. Like I gave the hotel management exam and the IHM shit, whatever. So I had a very good rank, but some shit happened, on the main day, and like I wasn't getting what I was looking for. So then I said like, fuck this, let's just do music instead. But that was quite a time when, to make your mom understand that sound engineering, like, they didn't even know like, acha sound engineering ka course bhi hota, tum music bhi padh sakte ho, matlab, in that side. Right. So until then, like, she had to ask a colleague whose husband was doing some kyunki saas bhi kabhi bahu thi mein music piche tha dhada dhada dhada. So she's like, acha aapko dhada 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 karna hai piche, wohi karna hai mujhe. So it was quite difficult for like, to explain her what that was and everything. I studied my music production from this place called Beat Factory. I think you also know about this.
Yeah, Gaurav Dayal.
The great Gaurav Dayal, and there was Saibal Basu also. So it was a nice like experience, there, and like learning how things work out, how to like, make music, produce music, how to, the tricks and the trade of the industry. So it's been a journey since then, but in between, like, of course, to like, I think in our country to just be dependent on music as your like, बोलते हैं ना कि passion को profession में convert करने में काफी लग जाती है, तो of course लगती है. So there are other things which you need to do to support. The hustle is always there. So when I started doing different things, like I was part of the organizing team of a couple of festivals in our country, and then I organized a couple of festivals. I did a big festival in Rishikesh. It was the Arts and Film Festival. So then I started working with a lot of people. I started doing ads, jingles. I started working with short films, documentaries, composing. There was lots of things involved, like, small things here and there, just to like, keep it moving. So that's how the journey has been.
So tell us more about, the organizing side of music and, how you got into that, and like tell us elaborate a little more on that, because, like there are a lot of people who are in that position where they've taken up music, but now the performance side isn't supporting them enough. Like, for example, somebody might have learned how to play the guitar, but they are also thinking that they have like, they have those skills that they can help someone organize a festival. So could you like just elaborate more as to, how your experience was?
Yeah, for me, honestly, I would say it was a hell lot of a networking. Like I was everywhere, wherever I could be. And I wanted to know everyone. And I wanted everyone to know me. So I think that played a really essential role, and and like I just wanted to be everywhere wherever the scene was. I don't know, whatever the scene, as in scene का तो kerosene हो गया अब वैसे,
but I like what you said, man, because sometimes हमको क्या लगता है ना, in a normal regular person's mind, it's like for them what is important is I need to learn these chords, I need to learn this singing scale, I need to learn this beat. But the networking side is the actual thing which gets you business, which gets you gigs. And I'd like to just focus on what like Debojit just said right now, that it's equally important to be everywhere and know everyone and make sure everybody knows youth, to actually move forward in that line. Tell us a little bit more about that, man.
So it as I said, like it was networking, and once you go there, it's like a ripple effect, I feel like,
Yes.
So for example, okay, I'll tell you for example. So I also do party promotions, okay?
Right.
Like before pandemic, but for the clubs and everything. Because see, like, I have lots of friends and like everybody likes to party and like, so you get paid to party, So when I discovered that कि भाई पैसे मिलेंगे पार्टी करने के, ये क्या है मतलब, मैंने कहा, so there's also things where like, your network can come into use. Maybe it could be for anything, like,
Right.
So starting from licensing work to like, connections or referrals or business development, there's so many ways you can exploit them, in good ways and bad ways also. Like I of course don't like the bad ways, but yeah, I think
so Debjit, आजकल क्या scene है ना, that kids these days are very sort of shelled, okay? I get a lot of this thing from आजकल के बच्चे कि यार I think I can sing, but I'm too shy to like sort of put my work out there. Generally, people are very shy and closed and bubbled, okay? They're very afraid of any kind of negative criticism. So, to be social and to do networking is kind of like a big task for that average, say, late teenage or early 20s person who's sort of too much into their own Instagram bubble, so to speak.
Right.
Any tips that you'd like to give them to sort of, get out of that and get out there more, or at least try to network more? How can they do that?
Well, bro, I think right now the Instagram bubble is a better bubble than going out, because we can't really go out.
Most definitely.
Taking, of course, the pandemic situation and everything. Right now, what I would say, it's a mix of both the Instagram bubble and the bubble, breaking the bubble of going out and just saying a hi to a random person in a random place, So if we can somehow find a good mix there, I think things work out. Like, of course, the Instagram bubble wasn't there before, when the going out bubble was there. So, ab wo going out bubble to hai nahi, so everything is virtual, like,
People need to like sort of take that first step, try to be friendly, try to just get to know people. Because I think networking is a huge thing and people don't emphasize much on it.
I personally feel, because like, अगर networking कर लो तो अच्छी बात है, मतलब कुछ बुरी बात नहीं है, as in you probably make a good friend out of that person if you don't like, have some work coming out.
Besides that, what were the other hustles that you were doing to promote and, keep your passion for music going?
So yeah, we started up with this amazing thing, which was the Ableton Live user group meetups in New Delhi.
Yes,
which was a great thing. Yeah, which was, I think, I feel quite like amazing, being like the person to get like Ableton, like, doing all this and supporting us so much in like, New Delhi. Now we have other groups in other cities also, but New Delhi was the first one. So we used to organize these user group meetups where people using Ableton at that time, or maybe like wanting to use Ableton, would come and attend those meetups and learn something new from like us, or like, we would have like people already who were pretty much using the software, and they would come and give like, lectures or like some lessons in how to use that software, and like, maybe inspire people. So yeah, that was a very cool thing we were doing.
So tell us about like, how did Ableton happen, and like I guess like you were so good at Ableton, like at a time where a lot of people didn't even know about it. Like you were ahead of the curve. Like you actually, I don't know, you predicted that this shit is going to happen.
No, yeah, I didn't predict it.
You nailed it.
I had people who predicted it for me. So there was like, so basically what happened is, when I was studying my sound engineering, it was quite an ironic thing, in fact. Like, when I was studying my sound engineering, I was learning Logic Pro. While I was learning that, I was also learning from my friends and people who told me to go do sound engineering. And there was one friend particularly, definitely, he's like, bro, use Ableton, it's much more friendlier, you can, like, because you play a lot of instruments, oh, it's gonna rain, you can, it's like great for live and all. So I was learning that parallelly. But back then I told my teacher that, why don't you teach this over here also? So they were like also in that whole zone that no, Logic Pro ही सबसे अच्छा है, Pro Tools ही सबसे अच्छा है. It was like that. I don't know, whatever you would like to call it, but then I was quite like happy to, like, use a software where you can do a lot of live things, like, like just like make your guitar sound like not a guitar, like maybe something else. So I was very fascinated with that fact. So I wo keeda aa jata hai na, you have to keep doing something. So it was like that. So yeah, man. And then we were about to open a self-sustained music institute, which never happened. But we had kind of like gone a lot through that journey, but it didn't happen. So by that time, we had called for a certified Ableton trainer from Germany. Yeah.
Wow.
And so he was here and he kind of initiated this. And he saw the whole enthusiasm and everything. And from then, me and my other friends, we took it ahead, and like, because he went back.
So you actually had somebody from Germany come and teach you about Ableton. It must have been amazing.
Yeah. Like, and it was crazy. Ableton, like, like you won't believe, like during just before our meetups, मेरे घर पे Ableton बर्लिन से हेड ऑफिस से डब्बे आते, मैम इतने बड़े कार्टन्स आते थे with goodies in it, like so many things. Like, bro, they sent me this. I was the first person in India to receive a push to when nobody had a push to. So I was like,
wow.
Yeah, मतलब बहुत माल भी मिला, मतलब, as in it was great, as in, Ableton supporting something in India, and like it was a very healthy thing happening, and like so many people were getting into that whole music production zone and trying to do like different things. So it was great. Now we have like certified Ableton trainers in New Delhi, in India, and it's amazing. So I feel it was a great time back then, and still now with this geeky stuff happening.
Yeah. Which are like the good places in and around Delhi or in India that you know of that they can go to, and versus how was your experience in Beat Factory as well?
It's like a school, right? Like your real journey of your school starts when your school is over.
Right.
So I think it doesn't matter wherever you learn, you can bloody learn from YouTube, man, or like online also. But like, of course, there's a difference of like learning on those hardwares and like, having that feel of a real studio and everything. But असली journey तो भाई उसके बाद ही start होता है, मतलब you learn. I because I would say the application of what you've learned will teach, like, let you know where you want to be gradually. Like, for example, I didn't know I would ever work for a theater. Yeah, so I did an amazing, like, it was an interactive theater with the National School of Design. And again, this is the German director, and like she like called me, and it was great because like, I was doing some I was kind of like teaching a little bit of sound design for theaters because I knew the teacher over there, and for the students of the last year. So I just like the day I did the theater, I realized that there's like so much more to music production and sound than just making a music for your client or like, for a film or something. Like, मजा आया काफी कि ऐसा भी हो सकता है. It was an interactive theater, वो कभी नहीं देखा था मैंने. And being a part of it and very politically challenged, मतलब उसमें ऐसा रोल था जहाँ पे वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को जला रहे हैं and मेरे को वो जलाने के साउंड को लेके eerie sound करना था. So to get those, like, it was very like, yeah, it like gave everybody.
It must have been
goosebumps.
like completely absorbing, like, what an
अरे बड़ा
experience.
crazy scene था यार. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को जलाया पेपर से, फिर ऐसे घुटके की तरह लेके धुआं में उड़ा दिया. So that whole blowing sound, like what you can do it, like, like. So it was great. It was an amazing learning experience, and it's a journey, as you know, bro. So ये तो बहुत सही था.
काफी सही. And so okay, but in particular, मतलब I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you this again, but Beat Factory में आपका experience कैसा रहा? Was it good? Was it average? Was it not so good? Did you get what you were expecting?
Yeah, I would like to be very diplomatic, give a very diplomatic answer because see, एक तो सबसे पहली बात तुम्हारे लिए वो experience amazing था क्योंकि that was the first time you're experienced to that because you don't know about what kind of experience you're looking forward to, you know. तुम्हें पता है तुम्हें साउंड इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ना है, अब तुम्हें पता है ऑफ कोर्स ये नॉर्मल कॉलेज नहीं है, दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी का कॉलेज नहीं है, थोड़ा कूल सीन होने वाला है, तुम हफ्ते में रोज नहीं 3 दिन जाओगे पढ़ने के लिए. So, and of course that was the time I think they had a lovely studio, they had all analog studios, great gears, great teachers. Saibal was a amazing guitarist himself, and like, you know, so when he was teaching us how to record guitar, and we were like, oh wow, ऐसे होता है, इतने सारे mic लगते हैं guitar record करने में. So yeah, it was like it was great. It was an amazing experience because an amazing experience I would say because, you know, you heard the analog sounds while learning, so तुम्हारे कान automatically खुल गए कि वो knob 10 से 11 जब होता है वो 11 वाला sound कितना warm होता है, तो तुम्हें पता है. So which is of course very tough, like, you know, very tough to like
understand on YouTube maybe.
Yeah, or like do it in a digital, but हाँ वो scene बहुत सही था.
And yeah. Anyway, like, you know, schools can only take you this much. Matlab, it's a huge ladder that you have to climb, and school is like maybe like the first 2 steps or something. Like people ask me because I did my postgrad in film and television production, but I landed up in radio and voice. So they're like, how was that experience? I was like, yeah, it was just a start, and that it was a good start at that, you know. And of course, in a school situation, you also get to network, and Devjit has already told us, you know, how important it is to network. So so tell us about Shibzoid, right? Like, that's your DJ name?
That's my alias.
Yes. So tell us about, you know, what was your experience like, you know, sort of going into that entire DJing world and community, and how did it transition and what happened?
Mad transition happened. I started up with like being a DJ. Like I got introduced to the whole DJ culture in a rave party I went to, and it was all psychedelic music, like trance music, and you know, that was my first like introduction, but it became too much for me after a while. Like it was too fast for me, I think. I'm more of a chill person. So then, yeah, things, you know, I transitioned from there to, I think, drum and bass, then, you know, some dubstep, some dub, then some house music, some now techno, but yeah, it's just like keeps, I don't know, like I've always, like, you know, I've loved Indian classical music a lot, but like, so I do these things where like I collaborate with Indian classical musicians, and I do the electronic part, and wherein they do like maybe a sitar player or a flute player, sarangi, something like that. So I love doing that kind of collaborations a lot. Like it really kind of like is up my alley, I think. Yeah.
Superb, man. And I think music is also like kind of like food, you know. You like Chinese for a few days.
That's my first name of my first album, by the way. I remember I told you, like, it's called MILF. Music is like food.
Music is like food, yes. Oh shit.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioning that even on my radio show.
Yes. Oh that yeah, we had a radio show.
Yeah. So this is the second interview that I'm having with Devjit, by the way, for everybody. Devjit, is there is there something that you'd like to tell us about what's happening in the current like pandemic phase? How are you managing? How are you coping?
I'm just it's crazy, as in, like, of course we don't have any gigs and all happening. Definitely, it's quite, everything is fucked up. All the work you used to get online, that's also fucked up. And I don't have much savings, like, because you spend whatever you earn. But yeah, somehow managing, you know, trying to do the hustle and hope this lockdown gets over. I think it's not for me, it's for everybody. But yeah, specific, like our sector has, the entertainment sector has definitely affected a lot, because भाई मूवी नहीं बनेगी, मूवी का म्यूजिक कैसे बनेगा फिर? तो you know,
प्रोडक्शन नहीं होगा तो
कैसे होगा,
लोग हायर कैसे होंगे, और पैसा अगर कोई खर्चेगा नहीं तो पैसा कोई कमाएगा कैसे?
Something new I've started with, like we've started, is a foundation basically. and it's called and we are trying to promote culture tourism in India and culture exchange programs. So yeah, that's something new which has happened, and we're looking forward to do something amazing in that sector. I'm trying to curate some experiences to attract culture tourism in our country through music, through food, through art, and different mediums. But yeah, since we have our lockdown and everything happening right now, that work is a little on the lower side. So just waiting for things to calm down a little so that we can go ahead with this.
Superb, man. And last but not the least, where can people find you online, or if they want to get in touch with Devjit for maybe organizing, some music festival, or maybe doing sound design for a film, or maybe performing at like some club, or I don't know, man. You're an alien. You can do pretty much anything you want. Like, but
then you can catch me in my spaceship. Then you can catch me in my spaceship. My UFO. There's a lot of places. Yeah, there's of course SoundCloud. There's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can just type Shibzoid, SHIBZOID, or just type Devjit Mitra. You'll see my funny face and you recognize who this bugger is.
And I'm going to put your links in the description as well. Thank you so much for being a part of the Ashish David Show, Devjit. You're a very enterprising guy. You are multifaceted. There are so many things about you. मतलब देखो, you're an alien and you've been true to the alien aspect, because इतनी सारी बात करने के बाद भी ना मुझे अभी ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे मैं काफी कुछ तो जानता हूँ, बट मैं बहुत कुछ नहीं जानता. And that is the secret of being an alien.
तभी आपके साथ cosmic scenes है ना, cosmic connection.
Cosmic scenes है. And in case some of you might be interested, Devjit and me also have a kind of like a collaboration where he makes the music and I sing. We do jingles and voiceovers together as well.
Oh, so, he's amazing.
So in case you guys want somebody who can do music production for your YouTube or your film or anything, you get in touch with him. This guy is multifaceted. इसके बारे में आप जितना जानोगे उतना ही कम होगा. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of people, who are watching you, Devjit, will be glad that they got to know a little bit more about you. And thank you once again for being a part of the Ashish David Show.
I think talking to you is an experience in itself, first of all, because we've had endless, longest conversations. Maybe this is the first time we are seeing, doing a video call, and we always spoke on the phone and like this.
Yes.
But I think it was amazing. It was quite splendid, and our conversation is getting rains to Delhi. I think that's the best thing which can happen. So
that is so awesome.
Let it rain. Let it
rain, man. Thank you so much, Devjit. I hope the next time that we talk, you have a bunch of more stories to tell. But unfortunately, I think मैं तेरे को समझ नहीं पाऊंगा properly because you're an alien.
Oh, great.
All right, man. Thank you. Have an awesome time and enjoy the rain, man, while it lasts.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Take care, bro.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you.
Bye-bye.